The next time was Israel. I was nominated by the Benue State government to go on pilgrimage. And because my friend works in the pilgrim secretariat, he chose me to be a bus captain. Before you can be a bus captain, you must be a reverend or a reverend father. So I was a bus captain. How many buses were there? 5 buses from Benue. So we, as a bus captain, I was a pastor of 50 people. We casted out devils in that bus. People, they were, oh, my uncle Sally, man, tell you. People were possessed in the bus. So we went, they was okay, this is the kind of ceremony. Then there's a book, we read it. After we read the book, we say there's a prayer here, there's a prayer. The people that are older than me will say, this kind of prayer, this prayer. But you must pray, I am captain. The day you are captain, you run it. But right now, I'm the one on ground. Demons came out of people crying with a loud voice. And when we got to Jordan, we baptized 6 people. So it was full ministry. We did full ministry. But when we got to Bethlehem, we were 50 people. 25 rooms were allocated to us. That means 2 people per room. You get that? And because I was bus captain, my own room was executive. And then they now brought this guy who was a commissioner of information then, and he said he can't stay, nobody will stay with him in the room. What's that? It's okay if you're staying alone, there's a fee you pay. He said, no, he is Benue State government. This me now. I am the government. It was towards the end of the pilgrimage to discover that the guy he refused to sleep with in the same room is his relative, his mother's. I don't know how they did that metrics, but he's related to the guy. So because he refused to sleep with the guy, I invited the guy to my room to sleep on my own bed. My bed is big, but I left the whole bed for him. And I slept on the rug. The rug was wonderful. And when my head hit the rug, I saw cherubims, 5 of them. And I didn't know if it was this physical eye or I was seeing in the spirit. And I wanted to run away, and then I saw like 25 close to the door. And I was looking at my roommates, they were all deep asleep. May the Lord help us. It was one of those cherubims that told me that one of my pastors must be removed. Yes. For those of you that know the meeting I'm talking about, that meeting was a result of that encounter. And today, those of you that have seen the truth. I came back from Israel, this strange man, and I said, there's going to be restructuring today. But I never explained what happened. I met with cherubims. The utterances that they spoke about an attack that the enemy will facilitate around my life. And one of those cherubims was assigned to accompany me from Bethlehem down to Nigeria. This one I'm telling you, God will try you before you enter it. It was then I had that encounter. I saw preachers in Nigeria passing through one. What do they call? You know when you're going to the bank, there's this bulletproof door. And it takes one person at a time to scan you. Now, the difference between these bulletproof doors in the bank and the one I saw is that when you enter into this one, it will scan you, then it will print your report card. 90% of people that pass through that machine scored below 50. And they were Nigerian preachers. A man that scored 73, I've never met that man, but I know he's a Yoruba man, and I will meet him before my days are accomplished. He's not a known preacher. Passed through, he scored 73. And when I passed through the machine, I scored 50. I said, it's impossible. I said, who are the people doing this thing? Hallelujah. It's impossible. It's impossible. And one of the cherubims spoke to me. He said, because you don't rebuke people that are wrong around you. While I was mourning over my mistake, that my pastor passed through the thing and it's causing. See? Meanwhile, those were the days when I was in Lagos. I was not here. I handed over to him. Went to Lagos. It was one of those cherubims that told me that the house they gave me to keep is in shambles because I handed over to him. So I knew I got fit. When I had this encounter, it was the next day that the commissioner found out that the boy he rejected was his brother. Then they reconciled, and then it was restored. But I came back to Nigeria with more than a bad experience. That was the moment I would have missed it in ministry forever. So I came back. We had the meeting. And I told the leaders, some of the leaders and my mother said, so they are not people I can manipulate. They also know God. They know God. I said, this man is going down. And I didn't explain. And they say yes. Because no one told me what was going on. It was the Lord that told me. It was after we did the shift that people started visiting me. This thing was happening. Jesus, I now found out why I scored 50. I discovered that what my disciples do, they affect my rating before God. So I came back and I made things straight. Do you realize that it was after we straightened that thing, this ministry picked up again? I hope you know what I'm talking about. So, can I go back to the lecture? So, it's a privileged place of intimacy. And you can actually operate from that point. So, Abraham was operating from that point, and it was on the strength of that possibility that he began to negotiate for the life of Job, for the life of Lot, his brother's son. However, in negotiating for the life of Lot, his brother's son, Abraham began with a good argument. He said, will you destroy the righteous and the wicked? He would have stopped there. But he went on. And in his negotiation, he stopped at 10 people. And you find 10 people there, will you destroy the land? He said, no. And that was enough for Abraham. And Abraham left, thinking that he has rescued Sodom and Gomorrah, given that he was expecting to find more, at least 10 righteous people in the land. If I were Abraham, I would have just said, will you destroy the righteous and the wicked? And stop. It was Abraham that went on to negotiate, and he did not have data. May the Lord help us in Jesus' name.